My name's Tim Thurston from Team I. I'm talking with
Jamie Martin of Correct Careers Coaching.
And today in our series of podcasts for local businesses, we're going to be talking about recruitment, which is an area in which, Jamie, you have a high degree of knowledge and specialism.
Yeah, so my background is working for nearly 6 years in a global recruitment business. I was promoted 5 times and I had a really good career with the company. So why recruitment, especially during COVID-19 at the moment? A lot of businesses aren't thinking about this topic area. The reason why I think should be an integral topic of discussion is we should be preparing for the future now. Before COVID-19, unemployment was at its lowest rate since 1975, which is astonishing figures. But now the market is dramatically changed. I think some industries are going to, benefit from this, but other industries will decrease. We're talking about industries such as leisure and entertainment, and that means there's going to be a large candidate pool now on the market. So the recruitment market is going to change. Is there any other industries, Tim, you think that, is going to have a major impact in losing staff?
No, but I also think the other side of that coin, Jamie, is there's going to be some industries that are really going to flourish.
Yeah, so I was going to mention that part of it, how individuals and organisations need to look at both sides of recruitment. So the industries that aren't going to prosper post reintegration, it might be that the organisations need to focus on further benefits and enhanced promotions for the staff they are keeping, to retain some staff where they can. And this could even be looking at wellbeing solutions. I know we mentioned before a study by Deloitte, there is a 11-to-1 return of investment for large-scale preventative initiatives. But as you are right there, Tim, the other side, that there will be flourishing industries, and this could be technology, healthcare, food and drink, logistics. So the recruitment change in these areas will be that there might be a mass recruitment drive because of the demand for products and services now needed. Is there any other industries you feel that are going to flourish after the coronavirus?
I think the recruitment industry, perversely, I think will see a bit of a peak. And I think education as well. I think the government will be looking to colleges and universities to educate people to fill the demand for roles that might be slightly different to what they were pre-COVID.
Well, there was a study by FSB, a survey they did, and 42% of SMEs are requiring individuals with a niche or specialist skill set. So there is going to be a skill shortage and a demand in certain industries. And yes, there'll be some more training needed in these areas, but we're talking healthcare, education, technology and engineering. Those sectors, are really going to need the skill sets moving forward. And potentially, if employers aren't prepared for this, then they are going to be losing potential new staff to their competitors who are, innovative and forward thinking, because the increase in workload is going to happen for businesses, and this is going to have effect on well-being. From my background in the recruitment industry, I would employ sales professionals on a national, international basis, and some response I would have is that from covering a large territory, you would receive over workload, burnout, stress, and that does cause people to move on from businesses. So, if companies aren't looking to start focusing on the recruitment process and adapting the recruitment process to hire new staff, then potentially they are going to lose individuals. But back to that point, there will be a skill shortage. How can businesses now maybe even impact on their training and development and induction program, and actually bring people up to speed to be able to perform the role when business does change?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, that point that you've made there about burnout and stress is a really important one.
Yeah, so from well-being, studies, 50%, 57% of all long-term sickness is from stress. And we mentioned before, we've got the Team Doctor Wellbeing solution that can help with preventative information and education in this area for individuals to look after their wellbeing to hinder this. There's going to be some recruitment changes.
I just think, going back to that Team Doctor point, Jamie, I think the interesting thing for me about the Team Doctor is that nowadays people are really interested in what experts have to say. And what makes the team doctor unique is that they've used experts to identify what the key issues are that drive stress, what the symptoms of those issues are, and then they offer some really good advice and tips as to how an individual can overcome and prevent those symptoms manifesting, and also giving them some real good advice as to how to get help if they need it.
Yeah, it's about self-awareness and being provided with the tools, but also being supported in the area to know what information to look at and the outcome it's going to have on your behaviour, to encourage individuals to actually focus on that platform, and while being an integral platform. It has been in latter years, but now more than ever during the coronavirus and post-reintegration.
Absolutely, yes. Sorry, I interrupted you. You were talking about the changes in recruitment.
Yeah, from a background in recruitment, and companies, they have a recruitment process. They use recruitment agencies, but recruitment is going to have some major changes now. During social isolation, working from home, there's going to be more candidate supply, and so it's going to be more challenging for businesses to actually shortlist the CVs. A platform I would promote is LinkedIn. It's a visual CV. You can visually see not only information and achievements of individuals, but also what other people are saying about them, to their recommendations. Video conferencing can be used. So, we're doing this over Zoom now, and video conferencing can really actually help interview processes. You can get many decision makers on a call at once, so it can speed up the process. And assessment days, they probably won't be happening much more for a while because of, social isolation. So the recruitment changes are going to be impacted. And I think, it can help with some areas. So the hiring process, from some statistics I'm aware of, it used to take around 42 days from job vacancy to, contracts. And then it could be another month or 1 to 3 months, depending on the role, for someone to start. So we can actually speed up the process by, doing video conferencing. And it's actually really important to think about how the recruitment process can change. If you look at some statistics, 66% of candidates, they do drop out of the recruitment process after 2 weeks. And that's because of the time it takes to hire. And if a candidate is having a poor experience, 60% of job seekers are unlikely to then purchase from that employer or brand. So that's going to have an impact on the actual company moving forward. So recruitment companies really need to look at, so the experience of a candidate during this process and how they are going to actually recruit themselves. What do you think about recruitment agencies being needed post the coronavirus, if there is an influx of candidates on the market, Tim?
Well, it's quite an interesting concept, isn't it? Recruitment agencies. I know from organisations that I worked for, when I was at MD in a publishing company, I had my own recruitment agency contacts that did a very good job for me. And then the company looked at how much we were spending from a group perspective and created a department that was to do that job. I have to say, my personal experience of that is I recruited better when I used agencies that were specialists in their fields. So I'm quite an advocate for recruitment agencies. I think they do a very, very good job. The downside, Jamie, I found, though, of recruitment agencies is that they do recycle their clients. And so they might be people that worked for me for 2 or 3 years, and then the same agency that placed them, maybe I wasn't doing business with them at the time, so it's not their fault for doing it. I understand exactly why they do it, and probably would have done it if I was in their situation. But they're then targeting people that they know, as we all do in business, and then moving them on. So I think there is a real positive to a recruitment agency, but there's also a downside to it. It's like anything. We talked earlier in this conversation about experts and how the team doctor use experts in their field. Use an expert in the fields. So if you are looking for a particular type of individual for your business, then it's probably a very good idea at certain times to use the right recruitment agency.
As a twofold response to your comments there, Tim. If a candidate is in a business, then we've talked about this in other discussions before, but engagement and investment is needed for every employee for them to be retained in the business. So an agency can't pull the candidate out again. There's a study done by LinkedIn Workforce Learning Report in 2018 saying 93% of employees stay longer if the company invests in their career. So, and I think that's a great study. It shows, we've been through this with engagement and looking at benefits, praise and recognition in previous chats. So, the business is, once the candidate's with the business, is then down to the business to support and look after the employee. For the specialist need of an agency, I'll agree. So I was a headhunter. I placed a COO and sales director for the same business. I also specialise within industries such as automotive and various different other industries throughout my time in my recruitment company. So I'm aware that 87% of candidates are actually passive. They're not looking themselves in the market. It's down to a headhunter or an experienced recruiter to actually bring a position to a candidate for them to then be interested in it. So if a company has the capabilities to learn them this south moving forward, then great. But I also don't think it's sometimes appropriate for a business to headhunt or approach candidates maybe from another competitor. So that's where an agency can still be useful following post reintegration.
Yeah, no, they're fair points, Jamie. Fair points.